I said I expected Jeff Hornacek to be fired within 12 hours of the season ending. That happened. And now by next week, I expect the New York Knicks to name Mark Jackson as the new head coach for the franchise. I'm not talking about insider information. I'm talking about preference. I'm talking about the decision that needs to be made for the best interest of this New York Knicks franchise. And one of the reasons that I've said this, and I'll say this religiously, and I'll keep on saying it until the cows come home, the New York Knicks job is not just about coaching. It's about James Dolan. It's about Cablevision. It's about Madison Square Garden and the conglomerate that it is, and how the business interest at hand puts its heavy hand down upon the basketball and the hockey franchise. We understand all of that it entails. At the end of the day, you can't just bring in somebody even if they just know how to coach. Jeff Hornacek is not a bad coach. He's not a bad person. He just needs to be in another city because he couldn't do anything to galvanize folks and gravitate folks towards the New York Knicks franchise, because the New York Knicks franchise has just stripped you of any faith or any hope whatsoever. I believe in Steve Mills. I believe in Scott Perry. I believe that they could do the job so long as they're allowed to do it in the dark, that they're not front and center, that they can't be the individuals that have to be the spokespeople for the franchise. James Dolan certainly can't do it because nobody wants to hear a word from him. They want him to cut the check and then go about his business and play his guitar. That's what they want from James Dolan. They don't want to hear anything from James Dolan. Since he's been patrolling the franchise regular season-wide, record-wise, is the worst. Everybody knows this. And so when we take that into consideration, what do you need? Take into account last year. Phil Jackson, his last year, before he officially stole money from the franchise, he was unofficially stealing money from them by not doing a damn thing when he was president of the franchise. He would talk in September, then he would disappear until April, leaving Carmelo Anthony to shoulder the load of having to play and speak on the team's behalf on a night-in, night-out basis, which was an exercise in neglect and cruelty, the likes of which we don't see too often. So what do you have to do? That coach has to be the spokesperson. It can't be a player. It can't be Spike Lee. It can't be a Steve Mills or a Scott Perry. It has to be the coach, and it has to be somebody that when he opens his mouth and speaks, New Yorkers and New York Knicks fans everywhere will love what they're hearing, will love what they're seeing, because they have faith that what this person is saying is the truth because they trust them. Mark Jackson, Queens, New York, O'Connell Park, St. John's University under Luke Hornacek, Rookie of the Year under Rick Pitino for the New York Knicks. This man is all about New York, okay? Except for when he's enjoying the sunshine of Los Angeles like the rest of us when we part from New York City. He's a New Yorker.
Yeah, you can say that about a lot of people on this show.
That's right. We need him
all about
in
New York
City.
Sunshine. As much as I love Mark Jackson, and it's not that I would object, everything you said about him is true. There's a ton of love for him in New York. Let me give you a better coaching candidate for the Knicks.
Okay.
Fizdale, who comes in as a beloved figure in the NBA, players like him. He'd be good for attracting free agents and does not have that same reputation of creating a paranoid culture.
Well, let me say this. There's a couple of candidates that I think we need to consider. Mark Jackson. I think Jerry Stackhouse, keep your eyes on that brother. He's building a coaching resume for himself that's very, very impressive. We can't ignore that. Of course, Fizdale is up in there. I'm going to mention Mike Woodson to a lesser degree because the last year in New York wasn't great, but that is the last time the New York Knicks won a division crown, and he was the coach. And the very next year was when Tyson Chandler's mom was going through all that she went through. He never practiced with the team, would literally fly in and out on a private jet because Dolan's good for that. He'll take care of his people now, and he'll cut the check. It's just that his presence is disastrous when it comes to the game of basketball. We understand that. Having said all of that, here's why. And listen, if Luke Walton wasn't working out in L.A., I'd tell you Fizdale was great for L.A. You know why Fizdale doesn't work for New York? Why did he leave? Why is he out of Memphis? Management. Because of some of the decisions that they were making, how much he felt they interfered, how much he felt that they worked against the interest of trying to build something, etc. Fizdale is credible. Fizdale can coach his butt off. Fizdale knows the game of basketball and deserves to be a head coach in New York. But he doesn't deserve New York ahead of Mark Jackson because, again, New York Knicks' job is not just about coaching basketball. Because of the residue of James Dolan and all that's been associated with him as it pertains strictly to the New York Knicks, when you're talking about a fan base, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I got to get a towel and wipe a tear from the face of Spike Lee. I mean, this is my buddy here. I'm getting to the point where I feel so bad for him. I know. Don't get me started how I feel about myself. New York Knicks have had me depressed for the last several years. I'm telling you, you need a coach that can be a spokesperson.
Several years.
Well, you can say
How
that.
about your whole? They've had me depressed my whole life. Gave me some hope during the Patrick Ewing era.
Well, they gave me some hope against when they lost to the Pacers. When they lost to the Pacers with Carmelo Anthony. I thought they should have won that series. I actually thought they should have won that series.
They weren't going. That team wasn't going to do anything. Stephen A., do you like Mark Jackson personally? I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And you're rooting for him as a New Yorker, correct?
Absolutely.
And you believe, as many do, that he wasn't given a chance to show exactly what he could do in Golden State. In other words,
to finish the job.
Everyone acknowledges he built that up, and then the only really debate was, could he actually then take that team to the next level or not? Whatever side of the debate you fall on that next level argument, we all agree he wasn't given the chance, so we'll never actually know. Okay, if you believe all those things, why would you wish the Knicks on Mark Jackson? Like, you're making the argument that Mark Jackson can deflect some of the stuff from Dolan and deal with it, and he's a name and he gets love. Knicks ain't going to win anything.
Max,
why would you wish that on Mark Jackson?
I can answer that question. As foolish as this may sound to you, because it would never happen. You know what? Let me be very, very clear about something. I'm a native New Yorker. I happen to love my job. I happen to get paid a pretty decent penny to do my job, more than most of the executives in the NBA. But if the New York Knicks called me to be the president of the franchise, I'd have to consider it. Why? Because I'm a New Yorker, and I'm sick and tired of the disgusting product that has been put on the floor. And so anybody that loves the Knicks franchise, that loves New York, that loves basketball, that has seen how the product has regressed for so many years,